Welcome to episode 37 of Press YYZ, your favorite Canadian gaming podcast that has us on it. We record it live every Wednesday night around 8 p.m. or so. We are also now affiliates on Prime Gaming, formerly known as Twitch Prime. So if you want to subscribe or give us a sub from your free subscription that comes with Amazon Prime, we would be forever grateful. Finally, follow us on Twitter, where you get updates on when we go live and post new episodes. For this episode, at the last minute, I'm your host, Nathan McInerney. And today, as I have not planned anything, so I have no nickname plans, I have AJ Frazier with me. How are you doing, AJ?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. Alex Balance not here with us today. Cozy is with us. Cozy, how are you doing?
Yes, I am here. I got disconnected from my entire body, but luckily I was able to apply a microscopic life support system to the bottom of my neck, and so I was able to make the show.
Excellent. And after a long hiatus, we thought Mitch was actually dead. Mitch is back. Mitch, how's it to be back from the dead?
I might as well be dead. I have been so busy the last couple of weeks. It's been ridiculous.
Well, you got married, right? And now you're doing married things that you can do when you're married, right?
So everything I was doing before I got married. But yes, I did get married over at twitch.tv/Mr. Mitch George. Those videos are still there. And I just wanted to take a second to say thank you for anyone here listening live on audio services, whoever was able to tune in and be a part of that day with us. It was not what we anticipated our wedding looking like or being, but I was so glad I could have you guys there in a virtual manner, and just thank you for being a part of that.
You're welcome. It was a ton of fun to dress up and sit at home, drink wine really early in the morning. And
early? We got married at like 1 p.m. When did you start drinking?
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna level with you. I was definitely watching, but I was still in my pajamas, and I was also trying to reno a bathroom. So
fair.
My wife decided it was time to reno the bathroom at that point.
Right at that moment.
Right at that moment. I'm like, oh, the wedding's about to start. Oh, can we start taking the sink apart? Oh.
but there's a wedding going on. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I had it on my laptop in the background.
Well, I appreciate you being there regardless. And to anyone who's listening as well, thank you for joining us.
I actually tried to get it going on my Samsung TV, and it would just not work. I could not get Twitch signed in or for it to run through the web.
It was funny too, because the night that we got married, we got to the hotel room. We didn't want to do anything other than watch the VOD just to see what the chat was like. And there was some stories being concocted in that chat, and it was pretty fun to watch back on after the fact.
Was it Carl, the guy?
Yeah, how's Carl doing?
Carl's
is
fine.
His wife Carla doing okay too?
So Carl and Carla are not husband and wife; they're roommates.
Oh,
and just moved into a place together in the city. So
roommates with benefits?
Given that, no. So there's more of a backstory there, in that it is Carla, another really good friend of ours, Carl and Carl's boyfriend moving in together. That there's no real benefit sharing happening there. But no, they're really good friends of ours, and I appreciate them letting me. So the wedding was on Saturday. On Friday, it was either Friday or Thursday, I messaged Carla and asked her, we're going to do this thing. Can you just watch my phone for the next 2 hours and make sure that no one, 1, steals it, 2, is profane for my family as they watch this thing on Twitch? And they said, sure. So I was very happy for that.
Sweet. Well, that works.
It did. It worked out swimmingly.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that's worked out for you guys. And then, I'm here hosting, as I mentioned. So, hi, guys. So let's jump in and talk about what we've all been doing. AJ.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Solitaire conspiracy, because I love Mike Bithell games, and tell me if this is worth my time.
Do you like Solitaire?
I enjoy Solitaire a lot.
Okay, I am not very good at Solitaire, and this puts a fairly good spin on it. It's kind of a new version of Solitaire that I guess Mike Bithell invented, where you have all the different suits in your deck have different powers, and they all represent little bits of this spy agency. It's called the Solitaire Conspiracy. It's kind of a whole spy theme in the narrative, and it's really cool. And if you're looking on stream right now, there's a video playing, and a friend of the show, unofficially, Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, is starring in it
soon enough. We'll get him on soon.
Yeah, hopefully one day we'll.
Never write checks you cannot cash.
I know, but sometimes you also have to put out a tweet and say, "Hey, here's my objective for the future," because you want to make yourself feel good when it comes through.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Program.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and if you're not making moves, you're standing still.
And a good
everything we've learned
is forever delayed, but a bad game is forever delayed.
That is not at all what they say, but that's fine.
An early bird keeps the apple away.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not very good at solitaire and noticing some of those patterns and whatnot. Trying to order the cards and organize it in such a way with rules just kind of breaks my brain a bit. But overall, it's actually kind of fun. You're Greg Miller. I'm forgetting his character's name in it, but he's basically telling you that you got hit in the back of the head and you wake up in this weird computer terminal, and hey, we need your help taking down this evil guy who's doing bad stuff. But graphically, it's like super striking, and it's got this really super cool futuristic computerized design all over it. And yeah, the objective is to play solitaire, and you're stacking the deck in a solitaire like order. Now, each suit, I believe there's 8 total. I've only unlocked 4 of them. Come with special powers, and that's only on the what do you call the card, like the Jack, Queen, and King of a deck? Cards. The face cards. Yep. Yeah, it's only on the powers are only on the face cards, and when you play one of those face cards, the power gets activated. And that by play, I just mean when you move it around. So, for example, one of them will take whatever stack you put it on. Will take everything and order it up and order it in that pile from highest number to lowest number. Another one will completely shuffle the pile that you put it on. Another one will take, if you put it on, let's say like a red one. If you take the red one and you put it on a green card, it'll take, if you have the ace down in the middle, it'll find the next card in order that you need, wherever it is in all the different stacks, and immediately place it where it's supposed to be. Like, let's say it was on the bottom of the deck and you can't get to it because all the other cards are on top of it. Like solitaire, it's an interesting power up where you could just pick that one. So yeah, it's fun. It only came out yesterday, I think, and I put maybe an hour or so into it. Okay. I'm like 5 or 6 levels deep. There's a disclaimer in it for streamers. After you hit level 9, you must put. It's requested that you put a spoiler tag in the title if you plan on playing past that point, like of whatever stream you're doing or whatever video you're doing, so that people avoid spoilers. I have no idea what that spoiler is. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I am entertained by this new brand of solitaire.
Yeah,
interesting.
I picked this up to support friends of the show, and I'm hoping to get to it before the next time we get back together, and hopefully we'll have some words on it.
Yeah,
sweet. Maybe I should pick this up too. Sounds
we should
right
see
up
if we
my
can
alley.
come on for the spoiler cast.
There's a launch sale right now too. I think in Canada it's like $10.50 or something through the 13th. So I think you've got like another week if you want to get it as part of the launch promotion that they're offering on the title.
On Steam?
All right.
On Steam.
Sweet. Okay, cool. So I don't know how to transition to this, but Cozy, tell me about Cuphead. You've been playing Cuphead. You beat Cuphead, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately not, but I have made significant strides. So Cuphead is a game that I purchased back when it came to the PlayStation 4. I don't remember the exact scenario in which I got it. I believe it was a thing where I had no intention of getting it right away, but I was kind of coerced into doing so by some friends on another Discord server who were like, oh man, bet you can't get to the end of the game. And I'm like, fuck you, I can get to the end of the game. I can beat all those damn bosses. I definitely overestimated and underestimated how difficult of a time I would have with the game. A lot of the early bosses, especially, are not that challenging in Cuphead, but some of the latter bosses, such as the dragon boss, whose name I believe is Flint Matchstick, is that correct?
Sounds right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Some of the
I didn't get past like the second island, so I have no idea.
Okay,
Yeah, same
well,
here.
long story short, for a very long period of time, I was stuck at the second island. I couldn't get past the dragon boss. And basically, over the weekend, I just sat down and was like, all right, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to get to the third island. And after many tries, I got to the third island. And then when I got to the third island, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and start beating some more bosses here. I'm on a roll. And right now, I believe that I've not consulted a whole lot of guides to see exactly how far I am in the game, but I believe that I'm 3 bosses away from beating it for the first time. I have to beat the robot boss in aisle 3, and then I know that Mr. Dice King or Mr. Dice Man, whatever, the big man who has a dice for the head who is gonna roll you a 20, him and the devil are bosses after the robot guy. So
that just sounds like the name of a boss from Mega Man Battle Network. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, it's that game is, really, really challenging and has caused me many moments of frustration, but it is, as many people have already said before, an incredibly creative game and something that I have a great deal of respect for. And on a more meta level, it was actually really interesting because, no joke, my weekend session where I sat down to play Cuphead was one of the few times in the past couple of months where I've sat down and just played a video game not on stream. Like I've talked about on this podcast candidly about how the past few months have not been a very, I would say, video game centric time for me. I've gotten a lot more invested in a lot of animes instead. And it was honestly really refreshing to just come back to a video game when it wasn't on stream and just, have at it for the rest of the night. So, yeah, not a whole lot there to really talk about that's super revolutionary or mind-blowing. I just had a really great time at Cuphead, got through some great bosses, and felt good about myself, even though it did take me many, 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 many attempts. I actually don't know. What is each of your experiences with Cuphead?
I picked it up on Switch, and I'm probably still on the first island. I'm not 100%. But I hated the platforming levels. I thought the platforming levels were terrible. I had fun with some of the bosses, but I just never gave it the time it needed to get good at playing the game enough to get further in it.
I actually had the opposite effect. I actually really enjoyed the platforming levels. And like I said, I got to the second island and there was just a couple of bosses there. I really don't like the flying bosses where you're sort of like, it's sort of like a bullet hell game.
You mean?
Where you're an airplane. Yeah. Cause I feel like I don't get access to the powers that I like that were the powers I was using as Cuphead were a lot more useful than what I ended up using as a plane. So I put it down on the Switch. I do hope to get back to it. It's in the backlog. We can talk about my backlog in a bit because it's getting kind of nuts. But yeah, that's just what it is.
My brief history with it is I was really excited when I first, like everybody else, when they first saw that brief snippet of a teaser in the Xbox conference where it first appeared.
Oh yeah.
And then I decided, well, you know what? It's out in Teslas, and when I can finally afford one there, that's where I'll get it.
All right then.
Yeah.
I do want to say I personally come down on the side of actually liking the platforming levels decently enough. I agree that the real creme de la creme of the Cuphead experience are the boss battles, but I thought that the side-scrolling levels did a good job of basically offering the same kind of level of creativity and challenge of the boss battles offer just like stretched out over like a horizontal plane. But yeah, I can see, Nathan, how you might have not totally jived with them. And I will also say on the subject of the flying levels, Mitch, I mean, the level that I'm currently stuck on, the robot is a flying level. Yeah. And let me tell you, that level really tests your like sheer ability to dodge attacks. So I'll let you all know when I finally get past him.
Awesome.
Sweet. All right, Mitch, you've got a laundry list.
And I do want to just, sorry, it's my fault that I didn't remember this, but, somewhat importantly, I've also spent the past couple of weeks working on our new layout for Press YZ here on Twitch. I mean, it's not super different from the layout that I debuted a couple of weeks ago, but as you've undoubtedly seen, there are some pretty sweet new transitions now. Everything kind of moves to and fro naturally, and I'm hoping to debut a lot of other neat little stuff of that nature over the coming few weeks.
Cozy, you also said you've been going down a bit of an anime rabbit hole. What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Let's see. I finished up A Certain Scientific Railgun T, which is the third season of the Certain Scientific Railgun series. I thought it concluded very solidly. Unfortunately, I'm trying to keep this interesting without you guys completely glazing over. Unfortunately, it remains to be seen whether or not we're going to get a fourth season of the show anytime soon. But I would say that if you're looking for a cool series about nice, sweet slice of life stuff with some occasional sci-fi battles, go check out A Certain Scientific Railgun. What else? There's it's on the tip of my tongue. Rent a Girlfriend. That show finished up recently, and so I had a good time with that. Not as great as Railgun, but if you want something a little bit sweeter that deals with the subject of people renting girlfriends, you can go and give that a shot.
Have you seen Chobits?
Is
it similar to Chobits? I've heard of Chobits. I've seen Chobits.
Is your entire reference for anime like stuff that came out in the year 2001?
No, I also like Dragon Ball Z and the Pokemon anime, the original run.
Both phenomenal.
Fooly Cooly is probably my favorite. Yeah.
The Digimon movie just had its 10th anniversary, and that movie does not get as much respect as it deserves.
I also got into Evangelion, but I forget a lot of it based on the time that I saw it, so I need to watch it again. I hear good things about it.
I want to say, for the record, I actually watched like the first 2 episodes of Chobits a long time ago. I actually enjoyed what I watched of it, but I didn't feel particularly compelled to keep watching. But who knows? I might as well go back to it someday.
What about the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya?
I mean, I watched all of that. Come on now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on right now.
Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. That was like, prior to that show, I had watched, Digimon. I'd watched Pokemon. But I would say that Haruhi Suzumiya was the first anime show I watched that like kind of firmly cemented your love of anime. Yeah, like as somebody who liked anime more than just for its like Pokemons and Digimons and like animes based off of existing video game properties that I liked because of the video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I getcha.
Cozy, can I ask you an anime question?
Yes.
Seeing how you're an expert.
Yes.
What's better, and just from the anime perspective, Digimon or Pokemon?
I mean, it's Digimon. There's not really much of a question there. I do, and this is a really weird statement to make. I honestly do think that the Pokemon anime is underrated. I think that in discussing, the Pokemon anime's many faults and it being formulaic, I think that a lot of people tend to kind of disregard a lot of the genuinely really like solid writing and humor of the Pokemon anime throughout the years. But like in terms of just like overall plot, character development, the Digimon anime has it beat.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm watching the Digimon reboot with my kid, and I remember watching the first 3 seasons of Digimon, and I was held them in high regard. And the reboot's actually been really solid so far. I'm about 8 or 9 episodes in with him.
Cool.
So, and it's his first anime he's watched, which is subtitled.
Yeah.
So
The last anime thing I'll say for the time being, just to kind of wrap up everything that we've been discussing over the past couple of minutes, is it's the anniversary of the Digimon movie. That movie's a real weird beast because people in the know will know that was basically like 3 different OVAs stitched together into a feature-length movie here for North America. But I do really like the middle OVA of those 3 OVAs. Basically, the premise of it is like a Digimon personification of the Y2K virus is threatening to wreak havoc on the world, and Tai and company have to stop it. And I think that it is like through and through, like visually, plot-wise, a really fun little extended episode of the show, and I think is well worth watching.
Nice. Good. Sweet. All right. So now we've done our anime segue of the episode. I can't guarantee that we won't come back here.
Opening.
No, don't worry about it.
No, it's totally cool.
Or do we want to make this a recurring segment?
Maybe.
We potentially could. Let's see how often we need to use it.
I'm into it.
He's very excited right now, everybody.
Yes.
I don't know if that audible gasp was in your ears the way it was in mine, but it's giving me chills.
Yes. Okay, Mitch, you've got a laundry list of stuff here. You've been gone 2 weeks. I feel like you should be penalized, though, for being gone.
Okay.
So you can talk about being level 40 in Fall Guys and a concert, and that's it.
Oh, come on.
Fine. Talk about all of it, but keep it quick.
All right. So I'm going from the top of the list to the bottom. All right. Since being married, we've gone down a bit of a Betty White rabbit hole. We've been watching The Golden Girls and watched a documentary on Betty White on Netflix. It was actually very good. I purchased Hades on my honeymoon, played a few hours of that. It's really fun. I cannot stop playing Avengers, even though it's a broken mess, and the developers have to come out and give us some update on content coming to that. I got a pedicure. My feet were gross. Now they're not. We started watching Harley Quinn, the animated show. We bought it on iTunes. It's really, really good. 3 episodes in. Went to a drive-in concert. That's why I missed last week's show. Sam Roberts is great. Drive-in concerts are weird. They kept giving us free stuff. Rewatched The Boys season 1 because Carmen hadn't seen it. She loved it. Thank God. So now we're going to start season 2. Hit level, hit level 40
the right woman, I guess.
Hit level 40 in Fall Guys because I wanted to get that trophy and I was really close and they did double XP. I've been streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Mitch George. I've now hit affiliate status. Thank you for everyone showing up to the wedding because that was the big push for that. I have added a command to that to basically, if people want me to play a game, I have a link to my backlog. I've gone through GG app and made a list of my backlog that people can pick from to make me play games. I also went Elite to support the developer of that, which promo code KFBF40 for 40% off your lifetime Elite membership if you want that. And I got married. How was that?
Yeah, that's a good list.
I tried to keep it quick.
So you hit 40 today then, or did you finish yesterday?
No, I finished it yesterday. So I played a bit with you, and then I played a bit with friend of the show, Gamer Adam. And it was not all that difficult. I got another win. Like I got a win with you. I got a win with him. And getting to 40 was not a big deal.
Alexander Kazina from the press pool. What is your GG profile where we can find the list of games to chorus you to play, Mr. Mitch George?
ggapp.io/Mr. Mitch George. I also dropped the link to that backlog list. If you want to critique it live on the podcast right now, it's in the doc. So if y'all want to bring up my backlog and we can, make me feel bad for the games I have not played, we could also do that.
I feel like we could maybe make that a segment later.
So, is this it right here?
Let me pull up the stream. I'm not looking at it right now. No, that's that's my top 10 games of all time. No, there's a link in the doc. I'll drop it in the.
Yeah, it's right in the doc, right at the bottom of his name.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, I was confused because I saw backlog over here, and I thought that was referring to the games underneath it. I apologize.
Oh no, yeah, it's one above it. It's just
all
a bit of.
Here we go.
Yeah, that top one. So that is my current backlog as it exists.
Should play The Witcher.
I should play The Witcher.
You should play Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I should definitely play
Undertale's an easy platinum.
I've heard that.
Hatoful Boyfriend is also like a pretty easy platinum, and it's pretty short.
Mm-hmm.
I also really want to play I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a chicken dating simulator on stream, just because that seems so weird.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems good.
I don't know. This isn't This
Have you
doesn't
not
feel
played
like that
Concrete
bottom of a
Genie?
list.
I have not. It is sitting in cellophane wrap on my counter. I got it as a Christmas gift last year and have not opened it.
God, it's so good.
I
love
know.
Concrete
I need to
Genie.
do it. And the thing with that is I have it physical, so I have to play it on the PS4.
You
Because
do,
once
yeah.
that gets unplugged,
Are you
That's
unplugging
it.
your PS4 or are you going to run it beside your PS5?
so I'm probably going to run one at the computer and one at the TV.
That makes sense.
And the PS4 is probably going to go back to the TV because that's where the VR headset is.
Yep.
And the PS5 will stay at the computer so I can stream that new.
You can plug the PSVR headset into. Have we heard anything about that?
So it's supposed to be compatible. There will be a dongle that you need to get to connect your camera to the PS5 because there isn't the camera spot.
Yeah, it's proprietary right now. And
But isn't there
get-
the PS5 camera?
there is.
Yeah,
and that
but
will be compatible with PSVR.
Yeah. So, but if you want to use your existing camera without having to buy a new one to get PSVR to work, they'll ship you a dongle.
Yeah, Sony said they'll make that free, but we don't have any details about that.
Yeah, because I'd like to order it sooner than later so I can have
would
it,
as
before the PS5 comes out. Although
That's
the new
fair.
camera looks sexy.
It does, but I'm not buying a new camera when I already have a perfectly fine one here.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Okay, cool. All right. For me, just to go over, I played a little bit of Fall Guys this week with the season 1 ending, even though I have nothing to do. I feel like if you've maxed out because when did I max out level 40? Like really early in, like a week or two into Fall Guys. They should double your coins or something that you earn as like extra incentive.
They
for
should
playing.
do something, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because I think I maxed that season pass out and I still had like 40 something days to go.
I fell off of it. Sorry, Cozy.
No, all right. Well, I heard a suggestion on Twitter that kind of piqued my interest, which is that, hey, maybe when you get to the final round of a Fall Guys kind of game and you don't win, instead of getting a crown, you get a crown shard. And if you collect like 10 or 15 crown shards, you can eventually get a crown as a way to give people who kind of come in second place a chance to get their hands on more crowns so that they can get more cosmetic stuff. How do you feel
That's a
about
great
an
idea.
idea like that?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of fell off the game maybe 2 or 3 weeks into it, but I'd gotten up to level 38. But thankfully, they made this double XP event a thing. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been incentivized to go back to hit level 40 just for that trophy. So now I think the only thing I need is the 5 wins in a row. And I think there's another couple of trophies that'll just come over time. But
Yeah,
that was one of the ones that if you don't hit 40 in one season, it'll all reset when the next season starts. So it was better with how close I was to just hit it now, get that trophy. So I don't have to feel obliged to hit level 40 again if it's not, a game that's in regular cycle for my play sessions.
Yeah, that's fair. I still need to get infallible. I hope there's private servers at some point, which we can just cheese that down the line.
100%. We just got to get a squad together to get you to the last round, get 5 in a row, and just repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah. So, but then the other thing that I picked up, and I was curious for your guys' thoughts. I never completed God of War when I first got it, just with reviews and stuff. So I thought I'd pick that back up this week. But then as I started playing it, I realized how great it looks. But I switched it from 4K to performance mode, which got me the 60 frames per second at 1080p. Is this a game I should wait to play on PS5? We kind of talked about in the chat a little bit.
Do you have a 4K TV?
But what are your guys' thoughts? Yes.
Maybe wait.
Yeah, because I know Private Jeebus in the chat earlier brought up that was it Private Jeebus? No, somebody brought up maybe it was Loki Mike that I wouldn't get back to it potentially because of all the new games coming out to PS5 and to play it now. So I just don't know. Thoughts?
I'd say if you have the time now to play it, then play it. It is something that I want to get back to because I never got the platinum in that game and I really enjoyed it, but it didn't hook me in the same way that some of the games this year have that have had me want to get their platinum. But I think I've also changed a bit of as a gamer since I played God of War. So I'd like to go back to it with a fresh set of eyes and just see how I feel about it going into next gen and with the improvements that could be made to load times and things like that. Cause there's a lot of instances of you're walking through an area or you're having to, traverse through a cave or something. There's all these like artificial load times hidden behind traversal. And I'd like to see how that could improve potentially on the PS5. But I'd say if you have the time now, just go for it now. No time like the present.
No, that makes sense.
State of the world, we might not even make it to November. Who knows?
It's true. But it's reminding me of exactly why I really liked the game in the first place. I think I'm just about halfway through. I've just come upon a giant dead or something. So I need to get something from it.
Yeah.
This actually, it kind of connects to something that myself and Mitch have been talking about over the past couple of weeks, which is that previously on the podcast, I talked about how I want to beat a bunch of games before the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X release. And one of those games was Spider-Man, the 2018 game. And Mitch was like, you should probably just play it when it comes to the PlayStation 5. And initially it's like, no, I can beat it before then. And now I'm like, there are a lot of things that I want to do between now and then. Maybe I should just like hold off and complete that game when it comes to
Plus, if you wait, you're going to have the new better face.
Well, only if you pay for the remaster on PS5. Depends on if you're going to play it via backwards compatibility or if you're going to pay to unlock the remaster with your copy of Spider-Man Miles Morales. Assuming you're going to play Spider-Man Miles Morales, of course.
We talked about it last week on the podcast, but I don't think we did.
Here.
It came out after that, actually. But I don't know. I think that $20 after seeing the work that they've done is warranted for the extra copy. I just wish they were selling it a la carte or doing an upgrade for existing digital owners.
I think they'll do it eventually, but I think it's just more incentive. Not that people needed the incentive to pick up Miles Morales on the PS5, but
just to get that full price I think it's just to get that $79.99.
It's $89.99 here, I think, with the.
Oh, that's right.
Because I think it's
$10 more.
60. I think it's $64.99 in Canada for Miles, and then
that sounds right. Actually,
$24.99 upgrade for Spider-Man remastered.
Yay! So, but anyways, AJ, sorry. Did you want to talk about No Man's Sky?
Not really. I've talked about it for weeks at this point.
Okay.
I'll just say that I'm still playing it and I'm still having fun with it. It's pretty good. I enjoy it.
Sweet.
It's available on Game Pass. You should play it.
I should try that. I've never tried it.
Yeah, so it's good now. That's the point. Is it's good now? Finally.
Okay. Sweet. Okay. Well, let's jump into the weekly news dump then. There's been a lot of news this week. Some of the stuff that we're not even going to get a chance to touch, which is interesting. But I think there's a few things that we do want to go through here, especially some newer items here. Let's start off with the first article, and this is coming from VG247 by Stefani Nunalini. I don't think I said that right.
I would just go with Nunali.
Nunali. But it's a PS5 teardown video. Shows
Nunali?
Maybe. That's the name of an anime character, so I'm going off of what I know.
I think that makes sense, though, because there's two N's there separating the U and the E. So I think Nunley or Nunley would make more sense. Sorry for butchering your name live on Twitch.
Yeah, sorry about that. Tweet at us and we'll say it right the next time. But it's a PS5 teardown video, shows the console's internal components. So PlayStation dropped this earlier this morning, actually. With a PS5 teardown on the PlayStation blog, along with some other news that we'll get a chance to talk to. But this was a really interesting video as they took the PlayStation apart, and something that I haven't seen many people do. I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts. We're going to get into a few of the articles here, but what are your overall thoughts on the teardown video?
They should have marked it not safe for work.
Why? Because
you had that thing stripped down right to its core components, man. It was... Well, that was
super
a saucy
sexy
way to start this morning.
Oh, yeah.
The one interesting thing, like, why is the USB Type A port on the front not high speed, but the two on the back are? I get it's probably just for charging, but, like, if you're going to go through the effort of putting the high speed ports in there, why not just make them all high speed ports?
Motherboards do that a lot, too, because I know some of the ports on my motherboard are 2.0 and some of them are 3.1. For the USB. So that's not like...
I wonder what the price difference is.
But like the USB, like 3 out of the 4 ports, so that there's 3 USB Type A, 2 on the back are high speed, the one on the front isn't. and there's a high-speed USB Type-C on the front. So 3 out of 4 ports are high speed. It just I get the aesthetic looks better without it being the high-speed blue of a USB 3.1 10 gigabit per second, but it seemed kind of off to me.
Just want to say that shot right there gave me a lot of anxiety of the thing on its side, because I'm like, oh shit, he's going to accidentally knock his elbow into it and knock it over. But
I feel like he's done this more than once.
I know, but for that brief moment, it's incredibly nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So. Also, that's a chonky boy. That is not going to fit in most people's entertainment systems.
That is, the console is huge. That is for sure.
Apparently it's really quiet. The word on the street is that it's quiet and it runs very cool. So I'm curious to see more of that. So let's jump to another article about the PS5 teardown as we continue to have the discussion about it. This one's coming from VG247 as well, Sharif Saeed. But with this one, so now we know that we're going to have Wi-Fi 6 and super speed USBs on the PlayStation 5, where Xbox Series X and S are going to have Wi-Fi 5 and slower USBs. So what are the thoughts here on that?
Thank God they're putting in better Wi-Fi on this damn thing.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi transfer rate on the PS4, PS3 is just straight garbage.
Do you guys use wired connections to connect your PS4s to the internet?
Mine's do wired. At this point. I didn't when it first came out.
I have a story about that, and it ties into my.
I just want to say, hold on,
computer.
Before you get into your story, I just want to quickly. For the longest period of time, I did not use a wired LAN connection, and then eventually, like in the middle of this year, I was like, I need to just get this connection in there, because like the boost that I get from getting a wired connection in terms of like downloading updates, downloading firmware, downloading what have you, is just so much more convenient.
You also have to change the if you want better speeds from either wireless or wired, you have to change the DNS in the console to I put it to Google's, which is like 8.8.8.8 and then 8.8.4.4, I think, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, you set that up, and the PS4 just, I saw significant increases in speed, download and upload. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully even on their end, they've fixed that sort of stuff. It's good that they've provided good fast Wi-Fi in the console itself, but I hope on their end they're also investing in themselves to make that better too.
Yeah, because at this point, they might be taking the console as the bottleneck, and now it's going to be the servers as a bottleneck, and it really won't matter if you can't maintain a decent gigabit connection to their servers.
Yeah.
Story time. So the PS4 used to be wired when I had Rogers cable internet, because the Rogers modem sat right next to the TV. Bell, in their infinite wisdom, when they installed fiber internet or fiber cabling into my apartment building, said that the only outlet to bring fiber into my condo was in the bedroom closet. So my internet modem is currently sitting in the bedroom closet. So unless I want to run an Ethernet cable through the bedroom into the living room,
I'm sure Carmen would love that.
No, well, and then fun story. Carmen's been having some issues with the phone client on her work PC. And they said the only way that they would go through and raise a ticket to like reinstall the window or reauthorize like the Windows profile and like rebuild it and everything was if she would first test it by plugging in a wired connection, because they thought the Wi-Fi was bad. But everything else works fine on the Wi-Fi except her stupid phone software on her computer. So we had to unplug her desktop, and it's an all-in-one. So like the PC is attached to the desktop monitor. We had to take the monitor, unplug everything, including mouse, keyboard, whatever, move it into the bedroom just to plug the stupid thing in so she could tell IT, no, it's not the goddamn internet. So that was a fun Tuesday afternoon.
Wow. It definitely sounds fun.
Yeah. Our house has had a lot of misadventures with like our modem being placed in a really precarious place that makes it very difficult to kind of get good quality Wi-Fi in certain sections of the house as well. It's a real struggle.
When we canceled cable quite a few years ago back. And our modem was downstairs by the computer where I'm sitting actually right now. And when we canceled cable, we brought a new company in, start.ca, to do internet for us. And I actually moved the modem position to the main floor of the house, right by the PS4. So it connected right to the PS4, but it was also, that's where I connected my routers, and it was much more central to the house. So I got better Wi-Fi reception right around the house there. So, but that's why my PS4 is connected wired in. My PS5 will be connected wired into. So the Wi-Fi 6 doesn't do much for me, but it's good to know it's there. So there were other few notes too on the teardown. We finally got a chance to see where the M.2 bay is for the NVMe drives for when you want to increase that PS5 storage. Because you don't have to use the like PlayStation ones. There will be other ones that will be allowed to use it. And it looks fairly easy to install.
And you're probably going to have to do that if the rumored 664 gigabytes of available storage day one is in fact accurate.
So I'm still hoping
664. What a peculiar number.
Well, the hard drive that they're installing into the PS5 is 825 gigabytes. So
not a full 1 terabyte.
Presumably the rest. And when Mark Cerny gave his architectural talk when they first revealed the PS5, he said that was kind of like the minimum they needed to be able to run the system effectively. And I'm assuming that the space that's being reserved for the operating system is not only reserved for the base operating system, but you're also reserving space in disk memory for when you're doing things like quick resume. So you're basically taking everything that was in the 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory and offloading that into the SSD. Because with the read speeds, they can pull it out of the SSD much faster, and they'd be able to load it up like it was instantaneous. So I'm sure it's the OS reserving more space than it actually, like the footprint of the OS, but it's still unfortunate if that 600 some odd number ends up being accurate.
We'll see if that does end up being accurate. That's only rumored right now. I have a feeling we'll know sooner than later. As you know, this thing's supposed to be out in just over a month at this point.
And no one's had hands-on.
No, that's not true. Some Japanese YouTubers had hands-on with it this week.
Oh, right, but they weren't allowed to access the OS or use the create button.
No.
But they did note that the X and the O button are
reversed.
Going to be reversed standard to the American way. So in North America, we just defaulted to having X be the confirm button and the circle being decline, because that's just where our thumbs ended up.
Yep.
But traditionally in Japan and Japanese culture, an X means no and a circle means confirm. Sorry,
cross.
A cross. The X-shaped symbol. But yeah, so that's something interesting that came out. It's weird because that's kind of backwards to me, because it's a Japanese company and they went. I guess it's an American. Sony's an American company now. PlayStation is an American company now.
I think they're headquartered now in the U.S. Even though
I think they moved it over.
Japanese company.
Most of their stuff's being done in San Francisco, I think now, or California specifically.
Right. Yeah. Have you guys had much experience with like import PlayStation games, having to like figure out which button's the input button and whatnot?
The only place I get confused is when I go back and forth between Switch and Xbox.
Yeah,
right.
Because Nintendo still has the configuration the Japanese way, or at least not they followed the Sony convention of having the confirm button be the rightmost button, not the bottom button.
But they don't change it in North America, which confuses the hell out of me when I switch between the Switch and the PlayStation.
Yeah,
it takes me like when I switch between the systems, it takes me like an hour to figure out to get back to which one's which.
So I haven't really had the issue with the circle and cross buttons being confirm or cancel since like the PS1 days. And the one vivid memory I have is of playing the Digimon trading card game on the PlayStation 1. With confirm being circle, I always mess that up. I don't remember why, but it was that game, for whatever reason, sticks out in my brain as being messed up for me.
I just want to bring that up because when I was living in Japan, I purchased a bunch of like super easy games to get platinums in, because like a lot of the easiest platinums for the longest period of time on the PlayStation Network were like visual novels, where all you have to do is you literally just have to like press the right solutions, and eventually you'll be able to clear all the branches and paths and get your platinum in like a matter of hours. And trying to figure out like, oh wait, I have to press the O button here and not the X button. Like I legitimately thought that some of the games were broken or had broken my PlayStation 4 back when I was living in the country. So, I mean, it's ultimately, it was a minor inconvenience. I can't claim that I'm like super happy about this change, but I mean, I'm not super caring about the change either way.
Right. Actually, in the chat as well, Private Jeebus, and also shout out to him for the job he did last week on the show, filling in. He was phenomenal. Hoping that Sony takes a page from Microsoft and lets media go hands-on from a Western perspective. That has to happen within the next week or two, right? Like, this console is due in like 5 weeks. It needs to be people need to get hands-on with these things.
Here's the thing: nobody needs to be hands-on with it. They've already sold through the initial batch. You're right. In theory, people should have hands-on.
I want people to be hands-on because I really enjoy the hype cycle around console release. I know it's a very specific reason, but
no, I agree with you. I'd like to see more hands-on. I'd like to see the UI finally, because I'm so excited to see that UI and more information about that, and just hear opinions. Like we've talked about Greg Miller before, but I really value his opinion on PlayStation, and see what that is, because I have to figure he will get one of those units. That being said, in terms of trying to sell the consoles, it means nothing because they've sold through every single one of them at this point. Yeah. So, like, they don't need to do that at all. And same with Xbox. Like, they're all sold. So, and then once they're in the wild, then people will have their impressions on it. But yes, I think they should do that. So, and then the last thing coming out of the PS5 teardown here. This is an article from some Samit Sarkar from Polygon, and it's the PS5 stand is a quiet display of engineering brilliance. I said the word. I got there. Okay. Engineering brilliance. And so it shows the moving of the stand from a horizontal to the vertical to the horizontal position. And I thought that the stand itself is really slick. And there's a few things I appreciate. I know there's definitely Xbox. You can just put the Xbox on its side because it's a giant boring cube.
Well, the top of it looks cool.
Does it though?
So it does.
Yeah.
To a point. I question airflow going through the sides like that when it does that. So I'm curious how that will work. But I think one of the things I really appreciate with the stand, especially in the vertical mode, is how it screws into the bottom of the PlayStation for stability. Because I use a stand on my PS4, my launch PS4, for the one upstairs for my boys, and it it doesn't really screw in super well into those. So I kind of like that way that it is screwed into the bottom. I know people are like, it's got a screw, and I've been seeing some crap about that. I'm like, this is actually good, like a good thing that it has that, and the way it transitions into the horizontal mode, I thought was really cool. So I don't know. What are your guys'
I think
thoughts?
That's the fact that they thought enough to like create a recess for the screw inside the base and have a plastic nub to cover the screw hole in the bottom of the PS5 when you're putting it in the other orientation, and the way the base swivels to hide the screw so you don't lose it is just like how do you think about stuff like this? It's crazy how much detail went into this one little thing. This one little accessory that's now a pack-in with the system, because with it being as chonky of a boy as it is, without that standing vertical or horizontal, it's going to be wibbling and wobbling and falling over. So I'm really glad that they've decided to include it as opposed to over-engineering a way for it to just work without that stand, because I think it wouldn't look as good if there was some like nubs on one of the sides for it to be horizontal or something like that. Similar to how you see the Xbox Series X, the way they have it now is, and actually Xbox UK took a jab at Sony today. Cozy, I linked something in the Discord that you could show. They basically took a jab being like, this is how you transition from vertical to horizontal for the Xbox. And it's just two pictures side by side of it, vertical and then horizontal with no extra work. But it's got like this pad on the bottom of the Series X, which really does look out of place when it's in horizontal orientation. So I actually like the fact that Sony engineered a way for you to kind of like the stand to kind of disappear into the design of the system.
At the same time, when if you are planning on getting a Series X and you're going to put it on its side, it's probably going into a like a TV stand under the TV cabinet and being hidden away anyway.
Good
and you're not
luck
going to
if it's
see
IKEA
that
furniture.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither of those consoles would fit in that
either of the
TV stand I have
consoles
behind me.
Yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, you're not going to necessarily see the round bit at the bottom of the square box, which yeah, does look kind of weird for sure.
So I'm curious. I'm like, my TV stand is an IKEA one, but it's really straight. Like there's not breaks horizontally on it, so it's just like a really long stretch back and forth horizontally. So like I can fit either horizontally without a problem, but vertically they'll just get in front of my TV. So I will go horizontally, and without an issue. If I tried to fit both of them, it wouldn't be an issue at all. But not everybody's stand's going to be that same. And then I said the last one was the final piece of news, but Tom Phillips from Eurogamer.net also has brought up that there's a mysterious nut.
I love a mysterious nut.
Sorry, Mitch. Did the tweet that you were trying to link me to disappear?
No, and it was an IGN article.
Yeah, because
I see an IGN article.
I'm currently viewing the article in question, but when I try to go through to the tweet in question,
it looks like it's gone. Oh, weird.
Oh, did they?
Maybe somebody got in trouble for that.
Ooh, they 100% deleted that tweet. Ooh, we got some extra spiciness, guys.
Oh, exclusive breaking news.
Huh.
That's too bad.
Here, the
Xbox UK intern fired.
Here, Cozy. There's the IGN tweet has a screenshot of the original tweet, so I can just. But yeah, someone's in trouble.
Oh no!
It's funny. I actually went through the IGN or the Xbox UK Twitter feed to try to find it and couldn't. So I just found, like, when I searched IGN UK, the IGN or God damn it, Xbox UK, the IGN tweet was one of the first to come up. So that's why I linked to that. That's funny.
Interesting. But yeah, no, there's a mysterious nut on the bottom of somewhere, not on the bottom, somewhere in the PlayStation 5, and people are trying to figure out what the purpose is. I don't know if they got to it in the teardown or not, because after the teardown, a lot of people were like confused. Hey, what is this nut for?
They probably did. I feel like it's probably just something in place to keep those exhaust fins attached to the base system or something.
The running theory was it was an easy way to access the hard drive for swapping that out. I don't know,
but no, we've seen. So essentially, the hard drive bay sits under one of those two white fins, and there's just a panel on the unit itself. It's not really towards the edge of the fin like that. So interesting, but not something anyone's really gonna ever have to see or mess with. I would hope.
You don't know how much trouble it took me to get that one underwhelming image onto my Microsoft browser.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
that is the jab that Xbox took at PlayStation.
Yeah, it's not the same magnitude, but it has similar energy to the Atom Boys Shuei Yoshida handing the game over.
100%
from the previous generation.
I love how much shade is being thrown around right now. Like, that's the ultimately at the end of the day, we're all gamers. We're all going to be excited come November. We're all going to be happy. There's still going to be people on one side of the fence or the other. My box better than your box, but we're all getting new consoles this year for those of us that can afford it or need to be, hip with the news. But ultimately, at the end of the day, both boxes are going to be good for consumers because we're going to get to play new innovative experiences that we couldn't get anywhere else from these first parties. And I am so ready for next gen.
Yep, I agree. I'm just looking at it here. I'm really excited about the USB-C ports on the front of it, or the USB-C port on the PS5. I can't wait for everything to switch over to USB-C. My phones, my tablet, everything's USB-C in our house. So as the Switch. So this is the next step of that. Also, who's going to try and get different plates for the side of their PS5, out of curiosity?
I thought about it.
I never had any other faceplates on my Xbox 360, but I was a fan of the idea of being able to customize your console. Like, if you think back to the N64, they eventually released a bunch of different colors of the N64. right?
Mhm.
You had like most notably the green one that came with Donkey Kong 64. That one was super cool, personally, but I don't know. I like the idea of customizability, and I like the idea that one day somebody's going to get the Halo Infinite box art and just make a PlayStation 5 chassis out of it.
Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll
I've heard some
probably
people
be
talk-
balanced.
I mean, speaking of crossovers, Minecraft Steve coming to Smash. That's cool.
Yeah.
yeah. We didn't predict that last week. That was not one of the
Nope.
people we predicted.
No, that was
I
not
was
one of our
yelling at
predictions.
my screen saying, "You guys know it's going to be Minecraft Steve." Nobody brought it up.
Nobody brought it up.
If y'all want to check out my YouTube, by the way, I recorded my sons reacting to Minecraft Steve coming out, and
What's the channel called?
flipped out.
How do we see that? Should we watch it here live?
Yeah, we can watch it here live.
Can you pump audio into the podcast?
We can link it after the fact and everyone can go.
Okay,
I actually
Alex can
saw
cut
it. I
this
think
out.
you shared it in a few. Like we have a few overlapping Facebook groups, so I think I saw you
Yes.
posted it in the NVC group, and that was just adorable. I loved it, and they knew right away. I had no idea what's it gonna. I don't. It's Mario, so it's gonna be a franchise head, but who knows? And they immediately were like, "It's Minecraft Steve." I'm like, I am out of touch with what the youth enjoy in their video game machines these days.
Yeah, no,
He's like a 10-year-old character, though.
Again.
they knew.
Minecraft came out when I was in university.
So I'll link it in the chat here. There. But that's the link. So that's my boys reacting to Minecraft Steve. It goes on a little long, but in the first 30 seconds, they're flipping out about it, and they're very excited because they love Minecraft. So, and they're still doing impressions of Minecraft Steve eating a pork chop, apparently, because that's something he does.
Okay.
I don't quite get it.
I'm still looking forward
I
to
guess-
playing the character next week.
I talked about this a little bit on Twitter. The thing about Minecraft Steve is I remember during the Smash for Wii U, Smash for 3DS days, it felt like Minecraft Steve coming to Smash Bros. Was almost like a foregone conclusion. Like it felt like everyone was predicting it was going to happen. It seemed without a shadow of a doubt that he would be the first Microsoft crossover character in the series. And then it never happened. And, you know, Microsoft Minecraft Steve rumors have persisted to this very day. But I feel like in the lead up to this character announcement and in the lead up to all the other character announcements, I don't feel like he's been rumored nearly to the same level that he was during the Smash 4 days. So this kind of took me off guard in that regard. And I feel like it took a lot of other people off guard for similar reasons.
Yeah, there were
Well,
rumors of Minecraft Steve coming to Smash Ultimate as early as like 3 years ago. Like there were
Like-
rumors of him coming to the Wii U version, right?
There were rumors
So-
before Banjo.
Yeah.
Somebody from Mojang said that this has been in the works for like 5 years.
Yeah, someone
and trying to
formerly
get
of
that.
Mojang.
Yeah, Mojang, sorry. Formerly of Mojang, said that this has been in the works for 5 years now. So it probably was in discussions, and that's why it was early on. And that's why probably we haven't talked about it in a little while. And maybe Sakurai was trying to figure out how to make a Minecraft character work in the game.
The shade
It's
from
gonna feel
Sakurai of
completely different.
Nintendo coming to him and be like, "You can make this work, right?" And him be like, "I don't want to," but
Mhm.
then he did. Was pretty fun to watch in that initial reveal.
So, but yeah, no. So I know kids are excited about it. Some people were really hating on it. So that was my input from that. So let's jump on for a final PlayStation related story for today. And I think our last story before we jump into the topic of the show. But I think as of tonight, so this is from VG247 as well, by Stephanie Nunnally. Did I say that right? Nunnally?
Nunnally.
We will never know.
Nunnally? I'm sorry,
No,
Stephanie.
eventually.
If you want to tag us on Twitter and give us phonetic spelling, we won't make that mistake again. But PlayStation trophy enhancements coming with a new leveling structure and more. So this was dropped on the PlayStation blog as well today, but we're completely changing the PlayStation trophy leveling system. And depending upon what level you're sitting at right now, it will now readjust your level into because we were going from 1 to 100, where 100 is the top, to 1 to 999. Just to space out where people's levels are. So because like I've been on level 26 forever, and it just will give a little more depth into where your trophies are. I think this is great for people who love the trophy metagame. Cozy, what's your thoughts?
I'm intrigued. So first off, to kind of switch over briefly, this is my PSN profile. I'm currently sitting at level 37 with 76%. And I'm very curious to see what this is going to equate to. I feel like if 1 to 100 is becoming 1 to 999, it would hold logically that I would probably end up somewhere in like the 400s, for example, but I honestly don't really know where I'm going to end up. I like the idea of trophy levels coming by and getting earned more quickly now, because that's the thing, is that like once you pass, I'd say like trophy level 12, the grind to earn more trophy levels or increments of trophy levels get real grindy. So I like the idea that I'll be able to kind of like pop a couple of trophies and immediately be able to see an increase into my level. Part of me feels like they maybe could have announced a larger overhaul to the trophy system than just changing up the way that leveling works and the level cap. Like I feel like, you know, people have always, you know, dreamed like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if you got like some free games or some free digital currency in exchange for, you know, just showing your devotion as a trophy earner. And I think that stuff's like too much of a pipe dream, but I was hoping that this announcement would have come kind of hand in hand with something like a larger sweeping change to the overall trophy level to further incentivize you to play beyond just, hey, you'll earn levels a little bit faster now because everything has been stretched out.
Comment here from the press pool, Mitch George speaking. In the European blog post about this change, it also mentioned that on PS5 that trophies will now track progression in games that support it. I don't know if that's something they'd previously announced, but just the fact that they're adding that as well to that's one of the only things that the achievement system had that I wanted the PSN.
Yeah, that I was going to say that's something that the achievements were Xbox achievements were doing at the start of this generation, actually.
Exactly. So yeah, it's one thing I really wish PlayStation would have, and it sounds like we're getting it, which makes me a happy gamer.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. There aren't too many instances that come to mind where, like, not knowing how many X items or X things I had completed were like en route to counting towards a trophy I was trying to get. But yeah, that's much welcome.
The one that always sticks out for me is one of the Lego Marvel games where you had to destroy 100 cars as one of the certain Hulks, and just like. I just kept destroying cars. I'm like, am I almost there? Am I almost there? So just having that idea of like how many more I had to do would at least just set my mind frame in the right phase. So I'm excited to see that. So I'm curious to see what all their trophy levels end up being like once this update goes through tonight, I think.
Yeah, it should be tonight.
Because I'm at trophy level 26 right now. And it's saying if you were trophy level 12, you're going to jump somewhere to the low 200s. So I'm expecting at 26, I'll probably be in the 400 mark. Cozy, you might be into the gold. So and the icon's going to change too.
Yeah.
Either a high silver or low gold, and there's 3 different. So every 100 in these levels will get you a different icon that they'll display too.
One other thing is that I do hope that getting to level 999 is not that easy still. Like I hope that I hope that it's now not made incredibly easy for anyone to get to level 999, because if it is, well, that's going to admittedly kill off a lot of my interest in continuing to earn those platinums. But ultimately, there's just not a lot that we know right now. We'll have to wait until tomorrow for everything to update to kind of give a firm, honest assessment of the way things are.
Yeah, just to go back to the trophy progression talk right now, like I'm working through Marvel Avengers, and there's trophies like complete 30 war zones on challenge difficulty 3 or higher, complete 50 hive missions, open 50 strong boxes, complete 15 villain sectors. So like knowing if having a better way to track progress on that rather than the weekly Marvel's Avengers, here's how many hives you've done, and that's the only stat they give you in that stupid email, would be greatly appreciated right now. Please, Square, give me something.
Yeah,
Square, give me something in Avengers.
So All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our news for this week because we do need to get moving on to some of the other segments of the show. Just a few quick watch all the things. Ghost of Tsushima is going to have their Legends modes dropping October 16th. We knew that was coming. We weren't sure when it was coming, so now we have the date. So go check that out. VG247 from Don Pepiette has an article about it telling you what you can expect in it. Apex Legends goes crossplay on PC, PS4, Xbox One, October 6th, so yesterday. And that's VentureBeat Dean Takahashi. Cozy, any thoughts on jumping back into Apex Legends now that they're crossplay, or how do you think that changes the game for you?
I've not actually played Apex Legends in a couple of weeks. I still very much love the game, but what happened was 2 seasons in a row I tried to get to Platinum Rank 4 in the online competitive mode, and basically that escalator climb and then the kind of slide back down when the season reset twice in a row kind of got me a little bit tuckered out, and so I'm definitely going to return to it at some point. Ultimately, I would say that the introduction of crossplay into the experience doesn't particularly change my desire to go back or my aversion for wanting to come back.
Is it just crossplay, or is it like cross account where everything I've unlocked on PlayStation, nothing carries over? My characters don't carry over if I want to play on PC instead?
Nope.
I have to buy them there too?
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You have to assume something is coming, which is why these
Apex Legends 2.
Well, no, these incremental steps in any software, whether it's games or anything else, you sort of make initial changes so that in the back end you make the initial change you have to for like a unified account system or something like that, so that you can transition away from being a single console game to being something that can work across the board with the same account. We've seen this from Call of Duty. We've seen this from Fortnite. Destiny. So I see it more likely to happen than not. When that happens remains to be seen.
Fair enough.
All right. And then finally in the read watch all the things, Xbox Series X's machine learning auto HDR renders stunning results. So this is a VentureBeat article from Jeff Grubb. So go check that out. I know he's had hands-on with the Xbox Series X. Oh, I said it right. I didn't say the wrong thing. So he's been hands-on with it with the unit. So if you're curious about his impressions there, go check that out. So we don't have any deals today. It looks like nobody's got any good deals.
I got one.
So I guess, Mitch has got one.
I just went and found one. Our buddy Al Babbin's over there holding it down. There's a Nintendo first-party game sale going on this weekend from a number of Canadian retailers where you can pick up titles like Super Mario Party, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Splatoon 2, Yoshi's Crafted World. They're all going to be roughly $50. I know right now they're up at Walmart, but other retailers have shown that they're going to be also having this promotion at the same prices. So if you're interested in any of those first-party titles that rarely go on sale, be sure to check this one out.
Also, if you're not following L Babbins, you should be. Both Mitch and I were able to jump on a shirt, an Animal Crossing shirt. What?
That was going to be a surprise.
Oh, well, I screwed it up. Too late.
That's all good.
Not a surprise.
All good.
But Nintendo posted an Animal Crossing 2XL shirt. So we'll see how it actually fits on us. It could be
Mine
huge.
is picked. So now I'm just waiting on the shipping confirmation.
Oh, mine's not picked
check
yet.
Check your shipping info.
Oh, well, now I want to go look. And it comes with an Isabel pin, and it was a penny plus $6 shipping.
Yeah.
So mine is not picked yet.
It'll get there.
I do not have anything from
my Super Mario Brothers 35th anniversary pin set is still not yet picked. It's still processing, and that makes me sad because I see people getting them on Twitter. I'm like, I want those too.
Yeah, all I have is an order confirmation from the Nintendo so far. So, but yeah, follow him because every once in a while you'll see a steal of a deal like that. So, all right. So now we're going to jump into topic of the show, and I believe topic of the show is going to be Rankem. And we're going to be doing Rankem with the best video game console launch games ever.
Console or handhelds as well.
Okay, console or handheld launch games.
Just launch games, yeah.
So, and they have to be launching the day of the console. So we're not talking launch windows. We're talking launch games. So depending upon the console, sorry, N64, although one of those is definitely going to show up on the list.
Sorry, GameCube.
You have two options.
No, there was more than 2 launch titles day
Nope,
and day with the
there wasn't on the N64. Mario 64 and Wave Race. Those are the only two. And
Those were the only two. I remember
months.
that. I was like 6.
Oh, okay, yeah. The only one I put on my short list was Mario 64 anyway, so that makes sense.
So I just remember having that and being like, well, I can play Mario and I can play Wave Race. And I had both of those for months. So, and if this list ends up being 10 knacks, that's probably the correct way to do it. But seeing how I didn't prepare for this, we'll do the standard round. While
you take some time to prepare, let me tell the folks listening at home how the game goes.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sure. So Nathan's going to host us through this game of Rank 'em. The way that's going to work is each round, a host will bring a game to the list that they feel deserves a spot there. They'll argue their point, and Nathan will decide where it falls on the list for round 1. So once we've got the list sort of filled out in round 2, you'll get to argue why one of your games deserves to be higher than another game on the list. At Nathan's discretion, he could switch their positions. He could move one above the other and just push everything down the list, or he could do nothing. That's all up to him. And in the third round, that's our wild card round. And since Nathan's not prepared, that one's going to be the most interesting tonight. And scoring as follows. It's a top 10 list, so games 6 through 10 are worth 1 point. 2 through 5 are worth 2 points, and the number 1 spot is worth 3 points. At the end of the day, somebody wins and everybody else is mad, usually me.
All right. So I think we should.
That was good?
Yeah, it was good.
I think you nailed it.
I think that was great. So let's jump right into this because I want to get this rank 'em going here. Now, I've only got 3 of you guys, so we're not going to fill up the list like we normally do, but it's fine.
Well, we could just do 4 games each instead of 3.
Well, let's see how we do time-wise.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start because Mitch has been gone for 2 weeks. I think it's only fair to start with AJ.
All right, if we have to. So I'm going to start the show with a showstopper here, which is to say that this game sort of created a phenomenon back in the day. It launched a console in a way that had never been done before and made it the must-have for every young child at the time, and then some for years after this. I have to go with the original Tetris on the Game Boy.
You son of a bitch.
It's such a good puzzle game even to this day, when today we have like Tetris in VR now. Like, think about that, a puzzle game in VR. The fact that this fairly simplistic puzzle game can inspire that, and as well as speed runs where I don't know if you guys have seen like the speed runs where people try and beat it on like the master mode or whatever at like the speedrun championship stuff. Holy shit. This game changed the world for the better and video games as a whole.
All right. Tetris is an excellent launch game. I think as this list is empty, it definitely deserves to be at number 1 right now.
I agree.
And probably for a good portion of it. We'll see. Tetris is a fantastic game. Probably one of the best games ever made. So, but let's see if somebody else has a better launch game than Tetris. Is somebody else filling out the list?
I can do it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Mitch, you've been gone for 2 weeks. Let's hear yours.
Well, I mean, given that AJ just stole mine, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go for the knockout punch here because we ain't holding back anything now. So here's a game that, with the launch of this system, people really didn't know what to expect. There was a lot of mixed messaging. There were games that were supposed to be launched that weren't. Even if it was only pushed out a week or two, it still didn't really come together. But what was there day one was pure, unadulterated fun. And that is a game that was there at the launch of the Nintendo GameCube. and that game is NHL Hits 2002. So NHL Hits 2002 is an arcadey rendition of the NHL game. It was incredibly fun to just pop into that, play with your friends. It gave you a reason to own more than 2 controllers on the GameCube, because damn if those multiplayer matches didn't get intense. And it just, as a Canadian kid, it was the one game I wish I had on my PS2, because I would run over to my friend's house and play it on his GameCube, because it's just so fun. How was that for a big hitter?
So I'll put that at number 2.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Sorry, Tetris is a better game than that.
Yeah, I noticed. I couldn't get the game I wanted, so I'm going balls to the wall. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cozy. Hit me with one.
Man, I'm tired tonight, you guys. I don't know about
That's what the
you
energy
guys.
drink was for.
Yeah, well, I didn't have any energy drinks, so unfortunately, I'm gonna have to, just ring it, as they say. Here's the thing. Way long ago, there was a little console called the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, that came to market in the year 1985. It was a plucky system. It had to prove that video games were not a fad, but were a force that were here to stay in your entertainment world, and it did so with a solid launch lineup of titles, many of them quite memorable, but none as memorable as Duck Hunt. We all know that snarling, laughing dog. We all know those ducks that fly away so blissfully unaware of the gun that's going to attempt to shoot them, but inevitably miss because of the zapper's poor hit detection. But that's okay, because you could point your zapper into a lamp or some other incredibly bright light source and just cheese it. There have been launch games throughout the history of the
medium. You could do that. That's actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There have been launch games throughout the history of the medium that have brought people joy, that have brought people pain, but none have managed to do so in as equal measure as Duck Hunt.
So yeah, that's a really good argument. I like Duck Hunt. It is a memorable game. I questioned for a second whether it was a launch game, but I just checked that is a launch game. Because I don't think Super Mario Brothers came out at the same time.
No, it did. They were both packed in on the same cart, I believe, at the launch of the NES.
There was like a big kind of news story conspiracy from a couple of years ago about how nobody knows exactly when Super Mario Bros., the original one, and the NES first launched. I could have said Super Mario Bros. And nobody would have batted an eye here, but I wanted to go with the more interesting response.
Yeah, no, I think Duck Hunt is a good choice, and I think that should be number 2.
Oh, look at that.
So if Duck Hunt is number 2. So with the first round over, with 3 people, we have Tetris for the original Game Boy at spot number 1, Duck Hunt at spot number 2 for Cozy from the original NES, and NHL Hits 2002. Sorry, was that the PS2, Mitch?
That was the GameCube.
GameCube for Mitch. So an interesting start. So we're going to go right back to AJ. AJ, give me your next launch title, which you think we should talk
about. All right. Mitch brought up the GameCube, and that made me realize that, listen, there were a few launch games like Luigi's Mansion and whatnot, but none of them quite hit, and none of them quite stuck around for as long as Super Smash Brothers Melee. That game still...
Wait, is that a launch game?
Nope. Is it a launch game?
Nope.
I could have sworn it was. I got it that year. Was it not a launch game? You got it that
year, but the game itself came out about a week after the
motherfucker, that got me. Fuck.
It came out in December, right?
It came out December 3rd, 2001, whereas the GameCube released on November the 18th.
I got it those two games, the GameCube and that game, that Christmas. So that's where I was confused. I thought it was a launch game. What the fuck, Nintendo? Nope. You fucked me.
Exactly. That's why I said
Nintendo, you fucked me.
I have a list here of every launch game that's come out for every system, so I can double check on them.
Fine. Well, you know what? either disqualify me from that, or you can say I said Luigi's Mansion in that, and then figure out where that goes on the list.
That doesn't seem fair.
Was Luigi's Mansion on there as well?
Luigi's Mansion was a launch title.
Yeah.
Was that a game?
It was a game.
Yeah. It was GameCube.
Okay. Okay. No, I'm going to let AJ fly with this one because that was an easy to make mistake. So, and I will give everybody one mulligan at the same token.
Okay. Cool. I appreciate it.
Luigi's Drums. I'm a ever, I don't know what word, but I'm pretty gracious. So good for you guys. But yeah, no. So Luigi's Mansion. Quick case for Luigi's Mansion.
It launched a system not with Mario but with Luigi, the secondary character. It took the other brother and made him the star, and had new and kind of innovating gameplay to the point where like it was kids Ghostbusters with Mario characters, and that was super interesting at the time, especially. Luigi's Mansion is a bit of a classic in that regard, and still fairly well holds up to this day, in my opinion.
Okay, so if I'm looking at the list right now, I think Luigi's Mansion should go at spot number 3.
Okay.
I don't like what you're doing to my boy NHL Hits 2002. I'm just letting you know.
Personally, and I'll just give you guys this heads up, that first-party titles for launch games are probably going to get higher priority over third-party titles.
Well, that doesn't seem fair.
So, the whole point of a launch lineup is to have those special gems which make you buy that system. So,
okay. Well, do you want a special gem that made you buy that system? Because I can give you one of those, and it's a third-party title.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So coming to us via Capcom at the launch of the Game Boy Advance, which if we think back to the launch of the GBA, there really wasn't a lot there, to be honest. Like you had, that was a Japanese launch title. Does that count or no?
It's a launch title.
It's okay if it launched in a different market?
Sure.
Okay. So I mean, in Japan, you didn't have a lot there. There were games like, Super Mario Advance, which is just a remake. Castlevania Circle of the Moon, good, but a derivative formula. Something that really innovated and, laid the groundwork for, I think there was 5 sequels on handhelds. There was a GameCube game at one point, a DS remake of one of the games. Just spawned a phenomenal series that really does need a comeback or a collection or something, and I really need to play it in some fashion, is the original Mega Man Battle Network for the GBA. This took a character that is beloved by many, and it kind of gave him a fresh coat of paint, dressed him up for the 21st century. The narrative that was told in this game was great about, kids having their own virtual assistants and those virtual assistants going to war with each other for various reasons, which is just bizarre, but spawned 5 sequels, a GameCube game, DS spinoffs, spawned a whole other series to follow it in Mega Man Star Force. This game laid the groundwork for what ended up being one of Capcom's greatest handheld successes, and it deserves a great spot on this list.
Okay, so I like the Battle Network series, actually, and I did play that in the Game Boy Advance. It's quite fun. Actually, I just finished watching Death Battle from Screw Attack, the Mega Man Battle Royale, with all 5 Mega Mans pitted against each other.
So if you did want to play it, I think the games are available on the Wii U Virtual Console, and I plan on buying them all before that store eventually shuts down.
I think there will be a collection at some point soon because Capcom seems to be wanting to do collections of a lot of this stuff. Where do I put this? So I'm going to put it at spot number 4.
What?
So I think it's a good game. I don't think it's better than those other games, but it is better than NHL Hits. So you are correct.
Man, I'm disappointed in you, Nathan. I thought we were on the same page.
I'm pretty gracious here. I think this is the right decision.
I'm just coming back to the show. I'm getting my sea legs back, and you go and do me dirty like this.
Well, you need to do better.
I'm giving
So
you gems.
give me a good one. Okay. Cozy, hit me up with the next one here.
All right. So here's the thing. I truly believe that Duck Hunt was truly an influential game amongst influential games when it comes to launch games. But I'm going to go for something that's actually of a little bit higher quality here. Resogun. Remember when the PlayStation 4 first launched, there wasn't a lot of love for its first party output. I know that we have some knack stands here in the comments, and I don't want any disrespect towards you guys, but let's be honest here. When it came to the PlayStation 4's launch lineup, Resogun was where it was at. Graphically, it was incredibly impressive. There were some great voxely effects whenever you destroyed stuff. Gameplay-wise, it took what the developer of the series, what the fuck is their name called? I'm sorry for swearing right here, but it's like one of those names that I literally had on the tip of my tongue. Housemarque. There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Who are developing the PS5 exclusive in space, something like that.
Yeah.
Returnal is my mind.
But
Returnal, yes, thank you. Yeah, it was just a little quiet. But you're good.
Okay. My point that I was driving at is that, prior to Resogun, Housemarque had sort of gotten its teeth with titles like Super Stardust HD on the PlayStation 3. And, generally it was a well-respected studio. People knew it. People loved games like Super Stardust HD. But it was really what Resogun that I feel like the studio really came into its own and people respected as like, oh yeah, that's a top tier indie, not indie PlayStation studio. And so, yeah, I feel very strongly about this one.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Cozy. I think Resogun was the best PS4 launch title. I know critically it did very well. Also, free on PS Plus for a PlayStation, so it was very easy to play. I remember picking up all the DLC, and they did a ton of free good updates for this game as well as time went on. That being said, we're not talking about the updates, we're talking about the game itself. And the core of the game of Resogun was just a phenomenal experience. Where do I list? Let's slip it in at number 3.
Oh, wow.
So I think Resogun's that good of a game.
I thought you were going to put it above Duck Hunt, to be honest.
No, I think Duck Hunt needs to be where Duck Hunt is, but I think Resogun's a very good launch game where we didn't have a lot of great launch games. So, okay, perfect. So that's Cozy. So we're going to go back to AJ. AJ, what do you got?
Hi. Yeah. So everybody loves the Uncharted series. And it sort of brought to light the idea that Indiana Jones could make a very good video game, but also made it modern. But Sony decided to release a portable system. And at the launch of that portable system, in my opinion, the second portable system, that is, in my opinion, probably one of the best games to come out in the duration of it was Uncharted Golden Abyss for the Vita. It was a fairly decent Uncharted game as a whole, and it wasn't overly reliant on the extra features such as the touchscreen or the back touchpad or anything like that. There was a little bit of that, but it wasn't like it didn't rely on it. And it looked decent. It looked fairly decent, and it proved that a console quality playable game could work in portable, and led to different gaming revolutions such as the Switch or even our cloud gaming on portable now. So yeah, I think Uncharted needs to be on this list.
Yeah, I think Golden Abyss is probably still one of the best Vita games, and it was a launch title. I think it really showed. And actually, I'm kind of always disappointed that whenever there's a collection, or like when they did the remakes, that it wasn't included because Naughty Dog didn't make it. Because Sony and Ben did a really good job with with Golden Abyss. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than the first game. Easily.
Is it better than the first game remastered or better than the first game when it first came out?
I'd say it's better than the first game remastered, probably.
Really? Okay, because they went in and they fixed a bunch of the issues that I personally, but I understand if you don't feel that same.
Yeah, no, I think if I rank them, number one's near the at the bottom of the list. If we're taking out the card game and the other game,
there was a card. Oh yeah, there was a card game.
Hunt for Treasure or something.
Oh yeah, man, everybody forgets about that one.
Yeah. So I didn't see, but if you take that out, I think it's number like at the bottom, and then you have that. That being said, Uncharted's quality is high right across the board. So yeah, where do we put Golden Abyss? Making this list difficult. Let's slip it in at number 5.
You're doing my boy Mega Man dirty there, just so you know.
Well, Mitch, you get another shot here.
Yeah, except you haven't liked anything else I've said. So do I pander to the host or do I go from the heart?
Pander to the host.
No, I gotta go from the heart.
All right.
So,
Oh boy,
this game revolutionized the genre in which it takes place. It started the genre as it exists would not exist today without this game. It launched an entire family of consoles, not just a single console. The Xbox Series X would not exist without this game, and that game is Halo. Halo Combat Evolved revolutionized the way that person. Alex isn't here to steal this one from me, and someone had to represent it on this list because Microsoft's consoles would not exist. Microsoft as a video game publisher would not exist without the successes that Halo achieved. And it spawned a number of incredibly successful sequels. It led the way to, Xbox modernizing and revolutionizing console online play, which is still ubiquitous today. None of these advances would have taken place if not for the original Halo.
Okay. Halo. That's a good shot. I agree with everything that you said. Yeah, it's a very iconic series, and while it's not my favorite series, I do agree that it deserves a high place on this list. Let's slip it in at number 2.
Boom!
Ooh, good one.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome, Alex.
As somebody who recently has gone back and started the original Halo, I don't know if it plays as well nowadays, but I should give it more time and play it more.
It plays fine.
At the time, it was the only reason to own an Xbox.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fair.
Which in and of itself deserves a place on this list.
I've talked about this on previous episodes of the show. I'm definitely going to be playing through the series for the first time when I get my Series X. So look forward to that.
All right.
Yeah.
Cozy, hook me up with a game.
Oh, boy. So here's the thing. Earlier on in this episode, I brought up a little game by the name of Duck Hunt, which released on the NES back in the year 1985. But as we all know, video games are older than the NES. Yes, there was an entire generation of video game consoles that came and passed before the NES was even an inkling in Shigeru Miyamoto's brain. I know he's not the chief designer, but stick with me here. And one of the first video game consoles that started up this previous generation was a little console called the Magnavox Odyssey. And when you picked up your Magnavox Odyssey in 1972, one of the very first games that you could play on it was table tennis. Look upon it and bask in its glory. You don't need to be particularly precise. This game understood that as a video game, you could abstract the act of tennis. And so when the ball's coming towards you, you can hit it wherever you particularly care. Dead on, from the side. So long as you hit it correctly, you had a chance of overwhelming your opponent and securing yourself the win.
Okay. So you're right. This definitely came before the NES.
Look at that! You can actually adjust the line in the middle of like the tennis game. I don't know what the line is called. The border,
the net.
I guess it is the net. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I thought NHL Hits was out there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how I put this on the list. Because it's not Pong, because that ball ain't moving in a diagonal really well.
Let me ask you a question. When you're playing NHL Hits, can you change the direction of the puck in midair as it's heading towards your opponent? Or is the puck
the way that game worked, probably.
Based
that game
on
was
its
ridiculous.
trajectory?
No, but I'm pretty sure you could hit someone through the boards, which was fun.
But I do appreciate the history of this game and it being like on a console from the 70s. And I want to make sure I treat it properly. Let's put it above NHL Hits.
All right. There we go.
Okay, we're going to the final round of the four here, because normally we do 3, but we don't have Alex, so that'll get us out to our 12. And then I still don't know what I'm going to do for the lightning round. I have a bunch of games, and I might just give you all one to figure out. So AJ, we'll come back to you for your final pick this round.
All right. There are a lot of fighting games out there, and regardless of whether or not the console succeeded, sometimes the game lives on. And I didn't discover this game series until the second iteration, where they had a bunch of guest characters on the different system. But the original Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast introduced a lot of interesting combat mechanics in terms of being able to choose a weapon before the fight to maybe give yourself an edge or a disadvantage or what have you. It comes with a very interesting cast of characters who all fight with different weapon styles, and that in itself would have been fine. But the fact that they included the different the weapon choices and whatnot for this game definitely set it apart from pretty well anything else out there. It was very colorful. It sounded great. It felt fluid in a way that the movements felt fluid and natural in a way that some of the 2D fighting games that came before it just didn't. And this, in a way, sort of, in my opinion, sort of revolutionized not the way, but a different direction fighting games could go.
Okay, so Soul Calibur is a 10 out of 10 game. I bought it for Dreamcast. I bought a Dreamcast just to play Soul Calibur on it.
Wow.
Because that's to get the best arcade. I do want to correct one thing.
Yeah.
Isn't the original Soul Calibur, the first one's actually Soul Edge.
Soul Edge. Got it.
And then the sequel. And then they kept the Soul Calibur name after that with numbered entries.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the series hasn't hit the highs that it has. It's not the same as it used to be.
It peaked at 2.
I would agree with that. They're trying to reboot it right now. I think, which I'd be really interested in. But yeah, Soul Calibur is definitely a 10 out of 10 game. It's fantastic. I bought a Dreamcast specifically to get my hands on that game and play, because that was the most arcade perfect version you could play. Let's take it at number 5. I think that's the right spot for Soul Calibur. All right.
I'm also going to spell it correctly, because everyone loves to put a space in it.
Mitch.
Yes, sir.
What's your final pick of this round?
I got to pander to the host, so I can't say the game that I want to say. So I don't know. Go.
You went with your heart last time, and that got you pretty high up on the list. So
it did. So let's go with my heart again. And my heart says that everyone and their grandmother played this game when it first launched alongside the Wii way back in the day. And it is one of the most iconic and most played and best-selling games of all time. And that game is Wii Sports. It made video games more accessible than they've ever been to a wide variety of people. I know it's not fully accessible because it still required motion controls, but it made it more approachable. It brought video games into the living room in a way that games have not done since and rarely did before that. And it is a game that is likely still played in nursing homes to this day. And Wii Sports, if it's not on this list, would be a travesty because of how iconic it was to Nintendo at the time and to video games as a whole.
So I think Wii Sports should be on the list. I do just want to point out, I hate the fact that it's included like a best-selling game of all time because it's a pack-in and it's sold with the system.
It's also the best pack-in game of all time because it showed off what the system could do in a way that very rarely do you see that from pack-in titles, and very rarely do you see pack-in titles at all.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. I think something like, what was the Switch game? 1-2 Switch?
1-2 Switch.
That should have been a pack-in Switch.
Yeah.
100%.
In the same vein of Wii Sports. It wouldn't have been as good as Wii Sports, but it should have been packed in and not a separate thing. So no, I agree. I just want to say, I don't think I hate the fact that it's included in best sales when it's sold with a system. I don't think those sales should count towards your selling of the game.
Understandably, but it's still one of the most played games of all time.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know what? Put it above Duck Hunt.
Sweet.
Oof.
Yeah, that's the right spot for it. Wii Sports deserves to be
Man,
there.
I could feel this game as I was watching footage of it. That was a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
No, I agree. It deserves to be there. Golf was always my favorite.
Golf was great in that. Even better in Wii Sports Resort, but we're talking launch titles.
Yes, I really enjoyed golf in the Sports Champions.
That was the PlayStation Move game, right?
Yeah, that was really good. And they had the
best motion controls game at some point.
Ooh, that would be good. And
That'd
you
be
could
a fun
get
rank them for sure.
You could get Connect and PlayStation Move in there,
and PSVR and Oculus and Vive and what the hell's the one by Valve, the Index?
If we're doing VR, I think you're almost better to do a separate VR list.
Could do that too.
Yeah. But we can do that down the line. Okay. Cozy, give me your final pick of the first round.
All right. You know, throughout the previous few rounds, I've listed games from the ancient past. I've listed games from the relatively recent past that are of high quality, like Resogun. I figured that it's time that we end things on a meme. When the PlayStation 3 launched in November of 2006, one of its launch games was a title called Genji Days of the Blade. I've never played this game before. I saw it just sitting there in a thrift shop somewhere in Montreal like a couple of years ago. And the moment that I saw it, I knew that I needed to get my hands on it because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the giant enemy crab game. Everybody knows, oh man, they're giant enemy crabs, ancient battles, Japan, something from Sony's E3 2006 press conference. Everybody forgets that was actually that was actually part of an actual game that was released for the system, and it was Genji Days of the Blade. And yeah, I feel like, you know, it's common for launch titles to bring people misery. It's common for launch titles to bring people joy. I feel like it's very rare for launch titles to become memes, and so I feel like for that reason, Genji Days of the Blade has to go to the tip top.
Okay, so I do appreciate your gusto. Also, the giant enemy crabs, that really goes a far way. Let's put it at number 7.
Really?
Yeah, all right. Goodbye, Luigi's Mansion.
That was not the meme game that I thought we were going to bring up.
I thought we were going Ridge Racer.
Oh,
No,
that game.
I thought we were going to Knack.
Oh.
Knack is serious
it's
business.
An interesting point. But yeah, Knack is a little bit too serious at this point.
Let's recap the top 10 and move on to round 2, Nathan.
Okay. So your top 10, so we'll start at 10 and work our way up. Number 10, Mega Man Battle Network, Mitch's entry. Number 9, Uncharted Golden Abyss, AJ. Number 8, Luigi's Mansion, AJ. Number 7, Giant Enemy Crab Game, Cozy.
I couldn't remember the full title, so I went with that.
Genji Days of the Blade.
I'm leaving
Days
it.
of the Blade.
Did you know, actually, fun fact, Genji Days of the Blade is actually a sequel. I don't remember what its predecessor is called, but I remember reading that on Wikipedia and being like, oh, wow, that's neat. Hold on a sec. I'll open up the
I'm looking it up
instruction
too,
booklet
Cozy,
here.
don't worry.
Genji Days of the Blade. Go
Genji
ahead.
Dawn of the Samurai.
Sorry, Nathan. You keep going.
Number 6, Soul Calibur. Number 5, Resogun. Number 4, Duck Hunt. Number 3, Wii Sports. Number 2, Halo Combat Evolved. And number 1, Tetris. I would really like PlayStation 5 to do a commercial that features a giant enemy crab from some sort of game just for fun. Tell them to put a giant enemy crab in Ratchet and Clank so that they can put it in a trailer. That would be fun. So that's our top 10. And leading the pack is AJ at 6 points. But following right behind Mitch, who kind of came back in the last half of this, and Cozy are both tied at 5. So this is a very close game, and it is anybody's game at this point.
We're in pretty dead heat here. I'm pretty surprised, to be honest.
So this is a mix right through. So the second round, this is the arguing round, right?
Yeah, this is the my game's better than your game argument.
Okay, so let's get this going. And we're going to start off with Mitch. Mitch, you get a chance to raise any game to replace the game that it is that you're putting.
So they're going to be switching positions?
Switching positions.
Okay. Can I take my mulligan here?
Sure.
Okay, because I want to replace NHL hits.
Oh no.
Okay, what can we replace it with?
Can I do it?
Well, the mulligan was if you set a game that wasn't a launch game.
Fine. Okay, then I'll just argue that Mega Man Battle Network is a better launch title than the Giant Enemy Crab game. I know it's not for any more points, but I just think Mega Man deserves to be higher on the list, and nothing above it deserves to be pushed down. That is kind of where the list separates for me personally.
Okay.
Mega Man Battle Network, like I said, spawned an entire series of sequels and beloved games, whereas Genji Days of the Blade is a meme. It's not it's not one of the best launch titles. It's one of the best memes, but it's not necessarily one of the best launch titles. Whereas Mega Man Battle Network was.
There's no points change here, but to get Mega Man higher, just the character Mega Man, I will allow that switch.
Without even letting Cozy rebuke?
Wait, hold on.
Cozy, rebuff, sorry, yes.
Yes, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read from the instruction booklet of Genji Days of the Blade. 3 years have passed since the young swordsman Yoshitsune Minamoto and his warrior monk companion Benkei Musha Hibo defeated the Heisei clan and leader in a brutal battle over the possession of Amahagane, divine jewels that bring their owners godlike powers like Kamui. With success, it has finally seemed like peace, however temporary, had arrived. During this time, Yoritomo Minamoto, Yoshitsune's older brother and leader of the Genji clan, tracked the remnants of the Heishi to the south of Japan, where he and his army were preparing to eliminate their weakened numbers. However, rumors began to spread of new, ungodly creatures appearing within the Heisei ranks, and their evil force re-strengthening, even without the use of the Amahagane. Now, with the aid of his closest friends and some unlikely allies, Yoshitsune must once again wield his fierce blades and summon the powers of the Amahagane and lead an epic battle to save all of Japan. Ladies and gentlemen,
You really
does that sound like the game that you want to play? I mean,
You
I have
put him
no
to
interest in
sleep
playing
there,
that
Cozy.
game. But let me tell
you don't want to stream on time tonight, do you, Cozy?
Let me tell you, folks, ladies and gentlemen, that sounds like an A-class bona fide game of an experience that is going to bring you joy, it's going to bring you tears, all the while bringing you some memes as well. Mega Man Battle Network, what's that game about? A kid has a robot, he goes into a virtual thing, and he fights the things, and it's like Sword Art Online, but it's like there's some things and robots. No.
Cozy, just so you know, I already switched them on the list.
Yeah,
You
Mega
can't
Man's
do
one of the-
that. Nathan has to do
Nathan
that.
put me in charge of the list.
I'm allowed to switch. All right, so we're gonna move on. Cozy, you now
People
get a
don't
chance.
appreciate art.
You get a chance for game round, Cozy.
Cozy,
So
you
make
realize
your
you reading that put Nathan to sleep, right?
Okay, let's think this through. Let's do table tennis on the Magnavox Odyssey. Better than Wii Sports. I thought that Wii Sports was a good ass time, but you got to respect your elders.
Okay, and Mitch.
Also, hold
Sports is a game people still talk about. Table tennis is not.
Argument part 2. The tennis portion of Wii Sports was pretty weak sauce, and you can't say that about table tennis and Magnavox Odyssey.
Can I rebuke now?
Yes.
Wii Sports was more than just tennis. Everyone loved bowling in that game. Bowling is GOAT.
Focus on one thing that makes your thing good. Don't spread out and have a bunch of mediocre, watered down stuff.
So I'm going to leave it the way it is, and it's strictly because when Cozy was watching the footage of Wii Sports, he said it brought feelings back to him.
You don't know that I
Cozy
have
has a
feelings
heart.
about table tennis for the Magnavox Odyssey.
Cozy, have you ever played table tennis for the Magnavox Odyssey?
I've played it vicariously through other people.
I actually
You
think
mean
I
through
have
YouTube
played it.
videos.
All right, AJ.
You're not wrong that I care about finishing this up quickly so I can get to my next stream. But
All right.
I've got a bit of a long shot here that I'm going to attempt to make, but Wii Sports was a pack-in game, a bunch of small mini games. Yes, a lot of people just sort of wanted it for the Wii to kind of prove the concept, but even still, they had to re-release controllers that had even better tracking, like make new controllers for the Wii, because it just wasn't good enough. It kind of proved that the idea of motion controls might be a thing, but after a while, it kind of wore off. The novelty wore off, and then the Wii's collected dust. Uncharted Golden Abyss, yeah, sure. Your Vita probably collected dust, but that's a full-fledged launch game that rivaled quality on full consoles compared to Wii Sports, which was just a pack-in mini game collection.
This is a good argument.
Can I
Mitch,
rebuke?
go ahead, Mitch.
Nintendo was innovating and coming out as for that generation, where Sony did was take an experience that you could get on console and cramp your hands and force you to use the back touch for things that didn't require using the goddamn back touch. They gave you controls that actually felt good, as opposed to controls in Golden Abyss that would give you hand cramps. Both systems collected dust, but one was played by grandmas and one was played by like 30,000 people, if that. So one is in millions of households and the other is in dozens of Goodwills.
I really like Golden Abyss. And I think
was
it's too
concerned
low.
for a second that you guys had frozen.
No,
I like
We're
Golden
just-
Abyss. It's too low.
Don't do
But
it,
it-
Nathan. He's already winning.
But I can't switch it with the Wii Sports. It's too high.
I knew it was a
it-
long shot.
Uncharted should be higher, Golden Abyss, but it can't supplant Wii Sports.
I don't know if I could have argued Duck Hunt or Resogun for more
I think you
points.
had the argument with Duck Hunt, to be honest. That's where I thought you were going.
Yeah, I might have considered it there. Okay, let's go into the final round so we can finish this bad boy off.
Let's do it.
And I have no games planned for this, so I'm just going to go through this and just pick a few right now. Let's see. So I don't know how this didn't get picked. Cozy, I'm going to let you have this one. Okay. Well, I look for other good ones for people because I'm going to try and pick some good ones here.
So wait, the one I'm getting is not a good one?
No, you're getting a good one.
Okay.
Mario 64.
Oh, I mean, come on
How is
now.
Mario 64 not on this list?
Because it's not the best Mario launch title.
Kind of is.
No, it's not.
It's
Super
Here's the
Mario
thing.
World is a better game.
whether or not you think that Super Mario 64 is the best 3D Mario or not, the importance of Super Mario 64 when it launched was simply unparalleled. Here's the thing. The original Super Mario Bros. On the NES was obviously very important as well in its own way, but there had been other platforming games that had come before it. There had been, for example, the Pitfall series on the Atari 2600. Super Mario Bros. Represented a pretty substantial leap up from those experiences, but it was still a known quantity. With Super Mario 64, Nintendo introduced 3D platforming to the world in a way that was just completely unlike anything that the world had known before. And I think for that reason alone, you got to rank this one high, man.
You're right. I do. Put it at number 2.
Jesus H.
Woo!
I'm looking for a game that's as quality as that. And it's hard.
Me too.
What do I got here? I wish we knew the topic and I was a host earlier. I would have planned for this better.
I do want to say something quickly to buy you a bit of time, Nathan. I'm aware of the fact that I'm sure that some person will come to me like on social media or in the comments and be like, hey, you know, technically Super Mario 64 wasn't like the first 3D platformer. In fact, there was actually like title X, Y, or Z. I'm actually not certain. Did Crash Bandicoot launch before Mario 64 or like Knights?
We'd have to check it out. Knights isn't a 3D platformer though, because it was 2D side scrolling,
right?
Yeah,
it was on rails.
It
was
was
2D.
I still feel like my main point about Super Mario 64 stands, which is that it really kind of like burst the door open on what 3D, like fully 3D platformers could be, even though technically you could make the argument that it wasn't exactly the first game.
Okay.
So it came out in Crash Bandicoot came out in North America prior to the launch of Super Mario 64, but Super Mario 64 in Japan predates it by a couple of months.
So I will say there's a reason nobody replicated Crash Bandicoot's formula because it's not good. I haven't played Crash 4, but there hasn't been a good Crash game prior to Crash 4.
How about this? How about I give you a better Crash game than Crash that was a console launch title, and you put it at number 1?
Well, I'm not going to guarantee that.
Okay, well, can I at least make the argument for that game? Or are you still looking for a game?
No, I got one, actually. I got one for AJ. Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. So Mario already had quite a big reputation, and it was going to be incredibly exciting to see what Mario was going to do next. But how do you do that? You add more pixels. The 16-bit generation, specifically with the Super Nintendo, sort of laid the groundwork for Mario to improve upon himself in ways never thought possible. He even got a mount. Think about that. Mario got a mount in which enhanced his abilities. The mount being Yoshi. Yoshi added a whole new dynamic to the game, almost like giving Mario an extra life. And the graphical update from taking Mario from his 8-bit pixels into the 16-bit generation, the graphical update alone really cemented and Mario's style and thematic thematic prominence in a very interesting way that well, for me personally, I never got around to playing it because I unfortunately, being a young kid, had to skip the Super Nintendo and go to the N64. I can look back and be like, yeah, you know what? There are a lot of things here in Super Mario World on this launch game that carried forward and even into Mario 64, in which that brought the concepts made here and just made it into the 3D environment.
Okay. Super Mario World's a good game. Also should be on this list. We're gonna slip Mario World in at number 2.
Ooh.
So you're giving them all the Mario games. Then what are you gonna saddle me with?
Okay, so Mitch, this one I think is perfect for you. It's Street Fighter the movie, the game. I'm kidding.
No. You want me to argue it? I can argue it.
No, we're actually going to finish this with the Mario Trio because this also should be on the list. The original Super Mario Brothers.
Okay. How do I wrap into words what is the genius behind an experience like Knack? Knack was a game that no one really thought could work in the 21st century. It was ubiquitous back to like the Crash Bandicoot style 3D platformers. But Mark Cerny really did take the reins there and decide that, no, this was a game that had to get made for core gamers as well as a general audience. They really envisioned what that game could be, utilize the power of the PS4 in terms of the rendering of the individual relics and the way you could build Knack up, break them down. It was a beautiful experience end to end and deserves to be somewhere on this list.
Okay, well, that wasn't Super Mario Brothers at all.
No.
But it was Knack, and I appreciate the gusto for Knack. Let's put Knack at number 1. Let's do it.
Shit!
I feel like if we did this list and didn't put Knack at number 1, we would have done this list disservice.
I agree with you 100%.
Genji Days of the Blade was robbed.
Yeah, that's what was robbed.
So let's break down the final 10 to wrap this up so we can finish up this episode. Coming in at number 10, Mega Man Battle Network. Mitch, you still got that on there?
Made the list, baby. That's the only reason I argued it against Cozy. I knew everything was going to get bumped down.
9, Soul Calibur. 8, Resogun. 7, Duck Hunt. 6, Wii Sports. 5, Halo Combat Evolved. 4, Super Mario 64. 3, Super Mario World. 2, Tetris for the original Game Boy. And number 1, Knack with a Bullet. Because I don't think there's anywhere else you can put that game. It's a masterpiece.
Sure.
So to round this off, Mitch at the last moment pulls a clutch hit and gets 7 points, beating AJ's 5 and Cozy's 4.
Feels
good job, Mitch.
This game
Feels
fucking
good to be back.
sucks.
I mean, I will say this. It was wily on the part of Mitch to start gushing about Knack when he was clearly given a very different game to talk about. Like, I can't, like, it's not like if Nathan had given him Knack to talk about and then Mitch gushed about Knack, I would have not been as accepting of this victory. But the fact that Mitch kind of took the reins in that regard, I do want to tip my hat to him in that regard, but I'm still pretty upset.
I knew what Nathan had to hear, even if he didn't know he had to hear it himself.
Wow, you're like,
that was.
I'm here for you, buddy.
That wasn't one of the games where I was going to put it on there. But Knack deserves to be number 1. It's a great game. And if it's not at the top of the list, we've done something wrong. It can't just be like in the middle of the list or at the bottom. So that's going to wrap up our top best launch titles ever for this week's episode of Rank 'Em. So
Sure.
Let's go around and we'll say goodbye. So Mitch, why don't you plug your stuff?
Yeah, I'm everywhere on the internet at Mr. Mitch George. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be doing a little more Twitch streaming now and into the future. So if you want to go give a follow over there, going to have some fun in probably Avengers and maybe pull something out of my backlog. Who knows? We'll see. Come hang out.
Sweet. Cozy?
You can find me on Twitter at Alex Kazina as usual, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/CozyBearLive. I'm going to be going live there in just a few minutes, and I think that tonight I'm going to be completing Donkey Kong Country 2. Just a reminder that I'm still trying to bring up my sub goal so that I can finally host my first ever live cooking stream. I made a very yummy pizza with fried eggs on it the other night. And so if stuff like that appeals to you, you should definitely contribute to me hosting my first ever cooking stream, because more Cozy Bear cooking goodness will wait on that.
I wouldn't think pizza and eggs could go together, but I guess you proved that wrong or something.
It was really solid. What you do is like you cook the pizza for a total of 10 minutes. And when it's like 7 minutes in, like 3 minutes before it's done, you crack the eggs on top of it and you cook it during the final 3 minutes.
That sounds interesting. I'd like to I've had eggs on burgers before, but I've never tried on pizza. That does sound interesting.
It's a good way to give it some.
Fan of eggs.
Sorry?
I'm not really a fan of eggs.
Oh, I love eggs.
We'll
it's
talk,
a weird texture thing.
There's a lot to get into right here, but we'll talk about it next time. I just want to say quickly that like the whole point of putting the egg on the pizza is if you want to put some extra protein on it, but you don't have any, pepperoni or any of the traditional pizza proteins, you put an egg on it. All right.
Oh, sweet. AJ.
Yeah, you can find me all over the internet at Times Hero, capital T, capital H. That's Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff.
I'm going to plug Alex because he's not here. I'm pretty sure he's playing Kingdom Hearts right now. That's what he's been doing all week. Playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts.
Should be. He's doing a level 1 critical run on the first game, which is really difficult.
Yeah.
Didn't you just do that, Cozy? No, that was the second game, right?
Yeah, I still have to get through that one.
I think when he comes back next week, we should ask him about his experiences playing it. But he's it's just Alex Ballant.
I'll throw it in the Twitch chat. It's a few different things.
Yeah, just throw it there and read it.
Oh, blatantly Alex. That's right.
It's blatantly
underscore
Alex on Twitter, blatantly Alex on Instagram, and he's got a YouTube channel that the URL I have to update.
Okay, perfect. And then finally, you can follow me at _NMac on Twitter. Check me out on PS3 or PS4 blog.net. And check out my YouTube stuff. I think if there's interest in it, I might post more of my kids reacting to things to react to. So, depending.
I hope you don't get sued by the Fine Bros if you do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with a better name.
Yeah,
so
Kids React is taken.
If you have a better name than Kids React, because I don't want to get sued, let me know. But on that
reactions from kids.
On that end of the show, thanks for playing. Everybody have a great day.